All right, y'all. We are back with some more Dokkan Battle. And today we're going to be talking about this past celebration and my personal gripes with it. I think a lot of these characters, while good in a vacuum, ended up being designed in a way where I'm not sure that they like make the most cohesive team, right? And it's mostly the Planet Saga team, of course, right here. So again, I think the biggest thing here is finally we're getting some Planet Namek Saga stuff, right? We got a whole row of characters here, which is really good because we had Ginyu, and then we got some EZAs over the next 2 years after that. Then this year, we got the Ginyu Force, which also doesn't like this is really stupid right here. This character is special pose only. Like they knew there was a Planet Namek Saga category, like team that's going to be built at the end of this year because they had it planned out. They had everything from year 10 planned out. So why would you release a Captain Ginyu Force LR and then not make them runnable on the Planet Namek Saga team? That makes zero sense. Like if we get like let's say year 10 or something is like Planet Namek Saga, and we got Ginyu and then these two to EZA. And then maybe they give a Super EZA for this guy. It's like, oh, we could run a Ginyu Force team, right? Like with and that's just a Ginyu Force team. It's not even like, you can't even run this guy like this team. Like this character would be so helpful if they had what they had, but instead of special pose, it would also be for Planet Namek Saga. Like it would be so helpful, multi-turn support and everything, but no. No, nope, 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 nope. So that's already one thing that I'm frustrated about going into the celebration. But I mean, yeah, again, I would say the celebration has been dry, of course. It's a post worldwide celebration, kind of thing going on here. So I don't really blame them. There's also Sparking Zero that came out, so they probably also knew, hey, there's a lot of a time that people are going to spend on that game. We don't have to, let's put our resources at another time for the year, like 10th anniversary, right? Um, which is fair. But I don't think that excuses the oddities with these characters' designs. If they're going to release these characters, I think that they should have been better. A lot of them, right? Some of them, for like the sub EZAs, we'll talk about them. I actually quite like them, but Vegeta, I think, is one of the big issues here. Vegeta's good. Like between bad or good, he's good. I just don't think he's what the team needed, and what the team needs is like a mega carry character. It feels like this character is a character that's going to be like a slot 2 or 3 character to some new Dokkan Fest LR that comes out or something. I don't know, man. It's like he's a TUR, but we've had TURs that carry teams such as Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku, such as Fat such as Tech Vegeta, Topo, like all those characters that release this year mega carry the team. And a big part for a lot of those characters is that a lot of them could be either like Boo is like mega team protector, or the rest of those characters were slot one characters for their teams, right? I think that's very massive, especially for a team like this where you're starting essentially a team from scratch. Because Planet Namek Saga before this had nothing that was usable for the team at all. So we're starting over from scratch. Then you release a character that's for the most part going to be a slot 2 character that doesn't really do a lot during most of the battle. The biggest thing about this guy is obviously after the super attacks, he has this nuke turn, and then he would have stacked a little bit, which by the way, these are 20% stacks, which is also very funny. Like these are always going to be 20% stacks, or even just raise attack and defense will always be 20% unless they're specified to be greatly or massively. Like the raises defense normally, this will always be 20%. So that's an issue too. He does get guaranteed additional super attacks here, right? But it's just like on besides that turn where he creates the full Ejo Keysphere turn, and then after that he starts making Ejo Keyspheres for himself, which is nice. It's a thing of this guy just looks very, honestly, in my opinion, mediocre. He has 48% reduction and 48% dodge after he supers. Or sure, right? I think the idea is, you use this active skill, this guy will get all of that start of turn, and then you could potentially slide him slot one there. But like it's not that one turn, man. Besides that, I just don't feel like he's providing anything much besides being a rainbow orb changer. Because like besides that, what else is he really doing? He's not doing crazy damage. He has no built-in crit unless you're somehow under 50% HP. But we'll get to it later. But there's going to be actually a decent amount of healing, and if this guy's getting AGL key spheres, then he's also healing himself. Um, and I mean, if you're in a situation where you enter the next turn under 50% HP, that's also quite dangerous. Um, I guess being fair, some of the healing is also end of turn, like with the Piccolo Gohan LR, so that helps out. Really thinking about that actually. Um, but this is like a multiplicative defense buff, which would help out in the high chance to crit. I just I don't know. I just don't like this. Like this should be different. I think first and foremost, there's a cap to this. If he had multiplicative stats more consistently, because I think this is multiplicative. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it is. But like, why is this capped? Especially if he has a full like, why does he change the entire key sphere field to Ijo key spheres on that turn? If this is capped to 10, like I obviously I mean, oh, you're guaranteed getting it, and you're getting a pretty good heal. Sure, right? It will be a full heal, and I think that it can be useful. But then you have to slot this guy slot one for that, and it's like he's not gonna be a crazy slot one unit, honestly, right? Just being real. Um, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, this guy's not carrying the team like the way he should. I think he could have had more damage, more defense. What would I change about this guy if I was gonna change anything? I would just like, I think this is fine. This should be when receiving an attack, and I think the dodge should still be another at least 30%. Ideally he would get up to 70% dodge. Like this should be, because okay, well no, so this is the 30% dodge and this is the 18%. Like this should be 30% reduction in dodge. And then I'm fine with only 18% reduction. But this should be even like an extra 30% is fine. It's keeping this 30% too when receiving an attack. And I'd be okay with that. 70% ideally is best case scenario. Then make this something you get when dodging as well. So it's like, okay, you benefit from dodging, and like the kit is kind of more tied together rather than this being a more very situational thing. And I mean, if they make this multiplicative much more common, it's going to make this feel less bad because like his stats are all going to be better, especially with the stacking. It's just going to make things so much more better, right? But I don't know. Besides that, he falls a little flat. Again, not bad. He's still good, but he's not like, oh, as the brand new leader for the team, you're running two of this guy. Like he doesn't feel like someone you're going to be using to carry. He feels like a character that's intended to be like a slot 2 or 3 floating character with orb changing, and then that one turn he could pop off a little. But even then, it's like he has this, he's not going to be able to get the orbs in the future, right? So it's like that goes to waste. It's odd. I think Kui is not bad. The only issue with Kui is, again, he's also quite situational. High chance of dodge. Then he has to be under 50% specifically when receiving an attack to get extra dodge. Or he needs the enemy to be debuffed. Actually, no. No, he gets this just when attacking. So he has 70% chance to dodge in general. Okay. Sorry, I did misread that at first. This is fine, right? There's a great chance for additional super attack. Actually, I'm not really a big deal for that. So he has 7% dodge, then he can get guaranteed dodge under 50%, which as a fail safe, I do think that's good. But this is start of turn, and this is I was talking about a little with Vegeta, but there's a decent amount of healing on the team. So especially end of turn healing with the LR Piccolo Gohan if you have them, which ideally you do have them. Um, but I do like this still. Like having that guaranteed dodge could be quite useful. Then he has a scouter as well. So like I guess the idea is like if you get that guaranteed dodge, you can put him where the super attack is. I do like this guy's kit, but he's pretty much just a dodge stat. Like he's just dodge character. He's not doing anything else besides the scouter, which I would say the scouter's not bad. But is there anyone on the team that could realistically tank supers or live supers every single time on Planet Namek Saga? And the answer to that is pretty much no. I mean, there's situations where some of these characters could live in like full power Frieza. If it's like, but it has to be specifically, obviously, it's not one. This character, but it has to be like early on in slot one. Like you guys get what I mean. Um, if it was a character that like is like a Beast Gohan level defensive character, then we're kind of cooking, But we don't have that right now for this team. Um, like where's like the 2 turn support? Where's even just the 1 turn support? Like, hello, like I think that'd be cool, right? Lowering attack and defense, like I think you can't really do it and go Frieza. Bulma, you could do it. You can't do it and go Gina and Gemma, pretty much. Uh, so like if this was like I don't know 8 months ago, wow, attack lowering. There's a lot of these bosses like 8 months ago that could be attack lower, but right now is different. Could this change in the future? Yes, of course, right? But right now it's different. So that's that, right? Like would I have killed them? Like this guy's on 3 teams, dog. Like would it have been that big of a deal? All allies, 30% attacking defense for 2 turns, and then Planet Namek Saga category allies, honestly 70%. Like he's a brand new summonable character. The team sucks. Like the team is never gonna be like buffed very consistently or have like a huge mega roster of characters, and it's not like he'll be applicable to a lot of these other teams. Like I don't know. I don't. That's just my opinion, right? That's what I'm thinking. That this guy could have done more, honestly, especially for again a brand new team. This guy could have done more, right? Full power Frieza. I like him actually. I think that the slot 180% reduction is pretty sick. I think the only biggest thing I would change about him is this should be when receiving an attack, and then that would help him out so much, especially early on, like that turn one. Because turn one, it could be even a little dicey for him. Because again, he only has this 150% defense, and then he has to super here, and then he has to get this defense raise here. And even with 80% reduction, he's at like 200k defense before getting this. But even after getting this, it's like what, like 300 to 400k at best. I'm not gonna say that's like crazy, and it's a super easy A, so I do like it still. He does end up losing some of the reduction of this 50%, which is a little bit of an issue, but I don't really think it's something that, at least right now, is going to make him that bad. But again, he's a super easy A. As I'm a fan of him, but again, I'm not going to say he's like team carrying mega pog. He's just like a great strong option, right? This Goku is a pretty nice sub BZA, I would say. He is gonna be useful on teams that could really push through events. But that Planet Namek Saga team, again, I don't think I should just keep the Planet Namek Saga category up. Like this team is not a team that's going to, I think, push through this events. This team is kind of like a team where all these characters are building up. So it's going to be situations where, okay, well, this guy on his first appearance is gonna most likely just die no matter what. So if he's just gonna die no matter what, you would rather have a team that's a lot quicker, I think, so that when, or I guess I say die, quote unquote, but he will survive KO attacks essentially, and then he'll heal you back 59% HP by the next turn, which is cool. Which funny enough, also again conflicts with Kui, right? So that's cool. I guess this guy could help you get Vegeta's passive, where the crit and extra defense, right? I do like that idea, but the team's not fast enough. So where when this guy comes back around, he's kind of still somewhat a fish. He's not like as big of a fish, right? I think there's situations where he can get over mode defense, but that's like on the Super Saiyan Trios team, not on the Planet Namek Saga team. That boy is probably reviving, or quote unquote reviving, coming back with like 700, 800k defense. Which, if you guys didn't know, sometimes you can't even take some normals with that. So, uh, yeah, I mean, he's a nice little gimmick character, but again, for Planet Namek Saga, not looking too hot. Nail is actually getting buffed. Funny enough, it's weird. So we'll read it here before we go into this, because I think some people may not be aware of this. But it's pretty much with these Piccolos that are like exchange characters, or this is actually the SSR for Piccolo and Krillin, the free to play character from the Garlic Jr. saga. This is the brand new Piccolo, and I think this is the Piccolo from Post Exchange. Yeah, Goku and Piccolo. They're not on Namek Saga, or not Namek Saga. They're not on Namekians. These characters are not included. So they said it's an issue, and it's really funny because obviously you could tell that this snail is intended to be working with this Gohan and Piccolo. But the thing about the snail is that he needs the Namekians, and this is like essential for his passive. So now this character is going to be included in there. Before, I would say for the Planet Namek Saga team, Nail was kind of just like but now I think Nail's actually going to be pretty good for this team because the fact that this character will finally count. Because like besides like you have to pretty much use this Piccolo, but now that this guy's gonna work for his passive, that makes things so much better, and that's what it should have been the whole time. It just, it's a whole thing where these exchange character categories are stupid. They should be on both of the categories. Honestly, even like a character like Goku and Vegeta should be both on both of the categories. But I digress. That's just not how the game's gonna work. I think Nail's pretty good though for a greatly stacking defense character with 50% support to key. He's gonna have damage reduction. You can get up to 77% as a stacker. I mean, it's not bad. I think Nail is pretty good. He has additional here. The only thing I would change about him is they added this Planet Namek Saga category enemy with the Wicked Bloodline part, right? It used to just be Wicked Bloodline. This should be a Planet Namek Saga ally, I think. Again, if he's like tied to the Planet Namek, like he's already super restricted to Planet Namek Saga. Essentially, he wants a Namekian's Piccolo, and sure, maybe in the future he'll be useful on a Namekian's team. But like, are you gonna use this nail anywhere else? He's pretty much on the Planet Namek Saga team, like Connected Hope. Sure, maybe in the future one day. And this character is also on Connected Hope though. Um, the Mechans is I honestly doubt the Mechans is ever gonna become an actual team. It's gonna be a thing with like restrictions, probably. It's like a category that exists for restrictions, I think is what it is. And this is his only 200% Vegeta, right? He does actually fit Vegeta's 200%, I believe, right? Dragon Ball Seekers? No, he's not. Actually, he's not even on Vegeta's 200%. But this is the only team that he's usable on. So, yeah, they're giving these Planet Namek Saga restrictions for all these characters. I think this guy could have been more consistent with that because this is something you can't control as much because if they bring out all the hard fights, they bring it out or Namek Saga or Wicked Bloodline, then you can't really control that. But you can control who you place on the team and who you're running with this guy. I think way more easily across all these different events, right? This character I would say is good. I think early on, especially, this character cooks, but this character has, I think I would deem it the LR Vegeta Blue issue a little bit, where their exchange condition doesn't necessarily always match up with their passive condition. They get exchanged to Piccolo from the fourth turn from starter battle when you're under 70% HP, but if you're not under 70% HP, what's going to happen is turn 4, you're going to lose that 30% reduction. You're going to lose that additional super attack. And you're going to miss out on this stack right here for that turn. You're going to only have 50% reduction. And you only have, I mean, they only have the 200% defense. These are also 20% stacks. You'll have no multiplicative buffs. And that's the issue. This guy is designed, obviously, to have the 80% reduction. But then you go down to 50%. That's a huge drop off in damage reduction. It's a huge drop off, man. That's the issue I see with this character. And besides that, this character, I mean, the 20% HP recovery at the end of turn is nice. But like, what are they really doing once this runs out? Nothing. And besides that, I think they are like a really reliable slot 1 tank for the team, which is kind of what I think this team needs. Because like this character is probably the most reliable slot 1 tank for the team, I would assume, right? Besides full power Frieza, but even full power Frieza sometimes, might get cooked up a little. Kui is dodger lane, Vegeta can't slot 1, right? So that's what I'm saying, just like weird. And then there's like a lack of good support options for the team as well. pretty much like, why is Queen out of support? Why can't this guy work on the team? Like, support would help this team so much. Vegeta is Rainbow Orb changing, but that's actually the best we got. Nail's the only character that supports, but Nail's not always going to be in every single rotation, right? He's not helping you throughout the entire fight with multi-turn support like some of these other really good characters can do, right? Um, I do like this character does stack though. This massive attack and defense raise, like once they super attack, especially, this character's not taking damage. And even with the 50% reduction, they'll be like pretty decent, but that this Gohan is not going to be crazy from there. Piccolo's really good though. I think Piccolo is quite powerful. I mean, if you do exchange with the under 70% HP, this guy is guaranteed dodge. So what's gonna happen? He's gonna get guaranteed dodge, of course. He will continue to stack that turn, and he will heal you back at the end of turn as well, basically a lot of the HP that you would be missing. Which is nice, right? Now, this, I believe, I'm not actually sure if this would activate with the dodge or not, because I haven't actually used him myself. I've seen a lot of gameplay of him though. Um, and obviously reading his kit, I have a good idea what he's doing. But when you return back and you're above 70% HP, he has, not only does he have the high chance to dodge if again you get this activated, but he'll have 70% reduction supporting 70% defense, but only specifically to super class, which is kind of funny because this Vegeta is extreme, Qui's extreme, Full Power Frieza is extreme, this Vegeta Goku extreme. Most of the team is actually extreme class. So I think this is an unnecessary thing to add there. I do like this though. Very key consistent. I think this Piccolo is like actually good because at this point that you exchange him, you have had a couple of stacks in, and you know, even though he only has 70% reduction compared to the 80% from before, he has way higher stats and he has much more stacks. He also has this as well, which will apply to him. So plus a high chance dodge. I think it's a really great trade-off, honestly. Um, and you know, linking up with Nail, man, he's gonna be like looking pretty nice if I'm not mistaken. Where is Nail at? I think Nail. It'll probably show him linking up with Nail, right? Um, actually only 3 links here, huh? Namekian, so 7%, 5%, still pretty decent, right? So I do like this character. It just, I don't know. Again, the thing where I think for this team, Gohan could be doing a little more personally. That's me though. Krillin and Gohan, another character that I think is good, but again, they're just kind of moving around. I think the thing that they would help with is this team's damage, honestly. Because as an LR, they'll be doing pretty decent damage. They have the additional super text, right? So take a look here. They have obviously their first super attack. This is with a high chance. Then they get a guaranteed additional at 24 key. So they could do 4 supers in a turn, which is nice. And then with their actual battle suit exchange, right? If you take a look here, that's 4 more super attacks. With this active skill, they get 24 key guaranteed. So they're able to, I think, pretty consistently get that. Plus the amount of key they get here is kind of crazy. With the dodges, they have 50% here, and then they get another 20% here. So they have 70% chance to dodge after they attack. But again, I think another slot 2-3 character isn't what this team necessarily needed. And they're pretty much just doing like they're basically like an upgraded Queen. Does that make sense? I think if you guys see what I'm coming from, because they have the 70% dodge, which I do like, right? They have the side chance dodge here, 70% dodge here. Very key consistent, doing just more damage than Kui, right? They're just kind of like Kui with the 70% dodge, but just more stats. Because what else are they really doing realistically? Like, they're just kind of stats and dodge. I'm not gonna say that's bad, but like, there's characters that are doing a lot more nowadays, you know, is what I'm saying, especially again for a brand new team. This Vegeta, I think actually is not too bad. I would say I'm not sure if he's crazy though. Again, just like the Krillin and Gohan, he does have this 30% reduction, but then that's all he's got. I mean, he's got pretty decently high stats, but nothing like that 30% reduction would save him. And I think this guy's obviously ideas that he's meant to die, right? I mean, if you're 50% HP or less, or from the fifth turn, which actually I do like as well that they added this starting from the fifth turn, because before it was just under the HP 30%, but now there's a point where, like, if you're turn 5, anyone could die, and this guy is a team protector ability like that, which is nice. And 50% is not like, because the thing about like ending the turn at 50%, you enter the next turn actually could be useful for this guy. So I see like where the Age of Vegeta, this guy goes hand in hand. But then obviously when he revives, he heals you back up as well. And would that count as end of turn healing? I don't know. Or would it be start of turn for the next turn, right? Because like would he heal at the end of turn and then it wouldn't activate Vegeta's passive? Let me know in the comments below. The Age of Vegeta's passive, right? Then we have Goku here, which again 30% reduction here. He gets another 30% reduction with another Planet Namek Saga ally. So that's 60% reduction there. But yeah, I mean, decent stats with 60% reduction. I mean, he's not bad. Like, obviously, I'm not gonna say he's bad, but like, I'm trying to like find a good word for it. Cause okay, let's take a look at I think the characters that have been releasing before the celebration. I think we'll get a better idea about it. Like if we take a look at um this guy, I think this character is just doing obviously way more. This guy doesn't even have additionals here. He doesn't. Right? He doesn't even have any additionals actually. Looking at it, which is really strange. A character without additionals. It's quite strange. He has a high chance to crit though. We'll take that, right? And he'll, I mean, 80% crit chance is not bad. Like, we'll take that. I feel like a lot of these other characters will end up being more oppressive. I think additionals are a really huge thing. Or if the character doesn't have additionals, like this character is mega supporting. Um, this character has all these additionals. He has to heal. Obviously, he ends up becoming slot 1. This character's not going to be slot 1. Okay, like you're slot 1. You could have the standby become slot 1. You're slot 1. You can be slot 1, but like the damage this character does post transforming, it's way better. Though I would say probably pre-transformation, the Vegeta is probably a better unit than Broly, because that Broly has like no defensive tech. But once this Broly transforms, he's crazy. I mean, I didn't mean to bring these guys up, but obviously they're going to be better. I'm not going to like compare this character as a Yellow Queen and Larizia. Like Goku, let's like Frieza, like I'm not trying to say Goku and Frieza. I'm trying to say Frieza 17. What's it called? Like these guys are just better, straight up, right? They're just way better. This character is just obviously just more damage reduction, multi-turn support, mega supporting. They could have the chance to make Rainbow Key Spheres. Sure, they're restricted to the one team, but they're also providing 2-turn support right there, right here actually. This character is like you just don't die. Like this character just doesn't die unless they're locked in slot 1. But like this character just won't die. Another issue with this character is like let's think of Frieza and 17. Like this guy at this phase in the Goku Frieza fight, like they almost get creamed, right? Being fair, if you're not exchanging to Goku at that point, it won't be that big of a deal. But as long as you have the revivability up, I don't know. At the end of the day, I just want to talk about these characters and talk about how I think this team is still kind of a mess. I just don't think this team has enough cohesioncy, especially if we start considering links. This guy is like Frieza Force links. This guy is just a weird, like he is, I guess, more Saiyan links, right? But actually, yeah, he has a lot of these more Saiyanish links, but like, prodigies. Brutal Beatdown might be shown in a couple of these like characters here with Kui, right? And this other Vegeta. Kui obviously just doesn't link with anyone as she's like not supporting. Nail barely links with Piccolo here. This character barely links with these other characters. Like this character has a weird link. Like all these characters also have weird link settings. So it would be nice to have like an actual key support. Rainbow Orb changing is good, but yeah, with this Vegeta specifically. We could talk about these other characters, I guess, a little bit, but they don't really fit the Namek Saga team. I want to point out, I've seen talk about these characters like, oh, they're not crazy. I think that's fine. This is like a team for like a day one player. I think this team, like this version's Goku team with the Saiyan Saga characters for a day one player are crazy. And I think they have, yeah, like it's pretty nice, right? I guess if you're a Saiyan Saga fan, kind of being treated worse than Namek Saga fans here, but whatever. that is all I have to say. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully, like with Planet Namek Saga, there is I just one more thing I wanted to say actually at the end of the day. There is still some hope. Easy A's for these four right here could be huge. We could even see like again like even a potential like major celebration or even like year 7 kind of celebration here. We have still a lot of easy A's we can get for this category. I mean, obviously these two will be really huge. I think these two end up being like easying within the next few months. Maybe for let's say, what if New Year's or again year 10 is Planet Namek Saga? These two easy A. They will likely become slot one characters because of how their passives are. They want to be ran as slot one. This character will be pretty good for that Frieza team. I think this character could actually end up being potentially useful for the Planet Namek Saga team. They could and they get to say screw it, easy these guys, even though it'll be like 2 weeks before the year 7's easy A's. It's like whatever, right? They're all using the same celebration. Um, I guess it'd be kind of weird with these characters because this character wants Ginyu, but I think it'll be better than nothing. This guy could easy A. This guy could easy A. This guy could easy A. We can get a new Super Saiyan Goku and Final Form Frieza or something as well. Who knows? Anyways, Planet Namek Saga essentially is pretty mediocre right now. Like you could get it to work though, but hopefully it gets more soon. This guy. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Peace out.